Be me. 31, field technician for a company that repairs the electronics nobody thinks about until they stop working. Menu boards, ticket printers, security gates. The little beeping box at the pharmacy that tells you your card is declined in front of 6 strangers. If it has a power supply and somebody is angry at it, eventually I get a van and a work order. Tuesday afternoon, my dispatcher sends me to a dead arcade. Not an arcade with one dead machine. The entire place is closed. Paper over the windows, neon star in the sign missing 2 points. Handwritten notice on the door that says reopening soon in the kind of lettering that makes you feel guilty for doubting it. Work order says 1 cabinet. Star Night Deluxe. No display. Owner requests diagnostic only. Diagnostic only is customer language for, tell me which number is going to ruin my week. I knock because the door is locked. Nothing. Knock again. Something crashes inside. A child says, I'm fine. And a woman says, that sentence has never once meant you're fine. Door opens. Mara Veles, mid-30s, black hair tied up with a pencil, paint on one cheek, tape measure around her neck like a warning. She looks at my shirt, then my tool case, then the van. You're early. I check my phone. I'm 11 minutes late. Exactly. Repair people are usually an hour late, so this is emotionally early. Then a little girl appears under Mara's arm, wearing safety goggles large enough to survive re-entry. Are you the machine doctor? June, Mara says. What? He has a bag. I tell her, machines don't have doctors. They have increasingly disappointed technicians. June thinks about this and nods like I passed something. Inside smells like dust, citrus cleaner, and old carpet. Best smell in the world if you grew up spending birthday money 1 quarter at a time. Rows of cabinets sit dark under drop cloths. Racing games, fighters, light gun games with the plastic weapons zip-tied to their holsters. At the back is a prize counter full of empty glass shelves and 1 plastic spider ring. Star Night Deluxe is in the middle aisle. Huge cabinet, 2 seats, chrome controls, painted spaceship wrapped around the sides. Mara pulls off the cover with both hands. This was the first one, she says. Then 3 more stopped booting, but the work order only let me choose 1 item. It's a very optimistic form. Can you look at all 4? I can look. Looking is still free until I make a concerned noise. June immediately asks what the concerned noise sounds like. Usually, huh. Sometimes, that's new. If I say interesting, leave the building. She follows me for the entire diagnostic. Mara tries to redirect her twice. June says she is my apprentice. I say apprentices carry the flashlight, so she carries a flashlight in a room with all the overhead lights on and takes it extremely seriously. Star Knight's power supply is dead, but the other failures don't match. One has a good supply and no control voltage. One is tripping an internal breaker. One works when plugged into the wall across the aisle. That last part gets me on the floor tracing outlets. Half the arcade is on a panel older than I am. Somebody added circuits over the years using a philosophy best described as electricity is probably forgiving. I open the panel, look at the scorched bus, and make the noise. Huh, I say. June gasps. He did it. Mara doesn't laugh. How bad? The machine is fixable. This panel needs an electrician before I put anything expensive back on it. Can you be more specific? Sure. If I repair Star Night today, the building may kill it again, or the wall may become Star Night. That gets half a smile, then she folds her arms. Cost. I give her the range. She looks toward the back office without moving her head, which is what people do when money is in another room and they need to mentally subtract it. Okay, she says, write it up. You should get 2 electrician quotes. I have 29 days. That is not an answer, so naturally I ask. She points at the papered windows. Final city sign-off has to happen by September 14th. The place has to be open by the 15th, or I lose the fall league deposits and the landlord can trigger the dark store clause. Dark store clause. If I stay closed past 60 days, he can terminate. Apparently an empty arcade lowers the spiritual quality of his strip mall. Why are you closed? Leak started in June. We limped along under tarps until July 17th, when part of the ceiling finally came down over the rhythm games. That forced us to close. Insurance paid for the ceiling and somehow developed moral objections to everything beneath it. She says it flat, practiced, not asking for sympathy. June shines the flashlight directly at my knee. Mom painted all the walls herself, Mara says. June. She did. I can see that, I say. They look good. They do. Dark blue with hand-painted constellations. Every section of the arcade has its own sky. Racing games under Orion, rhythm games under Cassiopeia, prize counter under a comet with a tail that wraps around the corner. Mara's face changes for about 1 second. Compliment got through before she could inspect it. I finish the report. She walks me to the door. June follows and asks when I'm coming back. Depends on your mom, Mara says. Depends on your estimate. June looks between us. Those sound like the same thing but mean different things. Smart kid. Dangerous. I leave, expecting that to be it. At 6:40 the next morning, my dispatcher calls. That arcade owner approved the cabinet repair. Electrician first? She uploaded the electrician's paid deposit receipt. Panel replacement is scheduled today. Then he says the words that change my month. She requested you specifically. I'm back at Starfall Thursday. New panel on the wall, clean labels, electrician sticker. Mara is on a ladder painting the last point of the Neon Star logo. June is sitting behind the snack counter with homework and a juice box. There are 8 stools at the counter. 7 are upside down on top of it. 1 is on the floor. June pats the seat. That one's yours. Why? Best outlet. Mom said you'll need to charge stuff. Mara nearly drops the paintbrush. I said he might need an outlet, so I saved it. I set my case beside the stool. Good operational planning. June beams. Mara gives me a look that says, do not encourage management. I rebuild Star Knight's power section. 2 hours. June does math at the counter and periodically reads problems out loud like I'm a captive tutor. Mara repaints trim and pretends not to listen when I explain fractions using prize tickets. At noon, I switch the cabinet on. Fans spin, screen flashes. Then the attract music hits, huge and triumphant in the empty room. June comes running. Mara comes down the ladder too fast, misses the last step, and catches herself on my shoulder. Her hand stays there, not long, maybe a second, long enough that both of us notice. Sorry, she says. Occupational hazard. Being used as a railing. Mostly children asking me about fractions. June is already in the pilot seat. Does it take money? Mara says. Not today. I open the service door and hit the credit switch. 2 credits appear. June points at the second seat. Mom, Mara hesitates. I have paint. Paint waits, June says. Mara looks at me like I am somehow responsible for this labor uprising, then sits. They play 1 round. June steers like she has personal history with every asteroid. Mara is worse, but louder. They lose in 90 seconds and immediately blame each other. That is the first time I see Mara laugh for real. Head back, 1 hand over her face, paint still on her cheek. Not polite, not owner dealing with contractor. Full laugh in an empty arcade with her daughter yelling about shield management. My invoice app is open in my hand. I forget to finish it. Mara catches me looking. What? Nothing. That was a face. I was evaluating pilot performance. Evaluate quietly. She is still smiling. The next machine is a dance cabinet that loses 1-foot sensor every 3rd song. Mara asks for an estimate. Your company lets you keep finding problems that aren't on the work order? My company lets me make reasonable decisions and then explain them badly. That sounds fake. It's in the handbook. Dance cabinet becomes basketball display. Basketball display becomes the ticket counter after June demonstrates that it sometimes awards -12 tickets, which she considers a personal attack. By closing time, 1 repair has become a legal pad full of problems. Mara sees the list and goes quiet. I can prioritize, I say. Safety and code items first, revenue machines second, cosmetic problems later. How many things could fail the opening inspection? 5 definite, 3 maybes. She walks to the office, comes back with a folder, and hands me a page. Budget. Actual budget. Every dollar assigned. Tell me what fits, she says. There is no room in it, not metaphorically. There is a line for repairs, and the line is about half of what my worst case list says. I should leave, produce a formal quote, let her choose. Instead, I sit on the stool June saved and start separating parts from labor. Mara sits on the stool beside me. June colors at the far end of the counter. We work for 40 minutes. Mara knows the machines better than most owners. She knows which ones earn, which ones bring people through the door, which ones teenagers pretend not to love. She cuts 2 repairs I assumed were essential and protects a battered 4-player adventure game that barely breaks even. Why that one? I ask. Families play it together. The guns are held together with tape. Then use better tape. I look at her. That was a joke, she says. Your face needs calibration. We get the list within 12%, still too high. Then she takes a breath and says, my husband used to fix the simple things. First time she mentions him. I don't say sorry. People throw sorry at widows like a receipt. I wait. Diego wasn't an electrician, she continues. He watched videos and developed confidence. Sometimes confidence worked. Sometimes I had to unplug the building. June says from the end of the counter, Dad made the claw machine grab his shirt. Mara smiles at the paper. He did. There is a photograph behind the register. I had noticed it without looking. Mara, younger, beside a broad guy holding toddler June on his shoulders, all 3 under the Starfall sign. How long? I ask. 3 years. Was this place his? Her head comes up. Wrong question. Ours, she says. The original idea was mine. The art is mine. Leagues, parties, vendors, all mine. He handled repairs and talked to strangers because he could make a friend in a parking ticket office. Okay. People keep calling it his arcade. Then people are wrong? She studies me, looking for something. Pity, probably, or disagreement wearing good manners. I tap the budget. This is your arcade. Which 3 machines can wait? That is when the whole dynamic changes. She cuts the driving simulator, the photo booth, and a racing cabinet with a cracked second screen. We get 4 capped after-hours visits approved for the next week. She insists on the cap in writing. I insist she stop calling every wire inside a cabinet the little red one. They're mostly red. That is the problem. You understand me? I understand arson too. I don't recommend it. June giggles so hard juice comes out her nose. Night 1, my stool has a paper sign taped to it. ELI, do not steal. She asked my dispatcher for my name, I say. Mara is behind the counter with 3 takeout boxes. She asked me, your invoice has your name. You remembered. I can read. The boxes are from a Thai place. One is marked no peanuts. I stop. How did you know? You checked the label on her granola bar yesterday. Mara nods at June. Then you washed your hands after touching the counter where she ate it. Allergy or very specific vendetta. Allergy. I told the restaurant. Separate utensils. That does something to me I am not prepared for. People know I'm allergic. My dispatcher knows because it's in my file. My mother knows because she watched me turn blue at 6. Friends know in the abstract and still offer me cookies while saying there's probably nothing in them. Mara noticed without asking. I sit on the labeled stool. Thanks. Don't make it weird. I need you alive until the ticket counter stops stealing from children. So, after that, peanuts everywhere. Industrial quantities. She puts the safe box in front of me and goes back to work before I can say anything sincere. This becomes the rhythm. Every night, before I arrive, June puts the same stool down, same spot, same paper sign. By the 3rd night, she gets annoyed if I set my tool case anywhere else. Dinner appears beside it. June does homework or sorts prize inventory. Mara is on a ladder, behind the counter, under a machine, never still. Every night has one machine and one problem that is not the machine. Dance cabinet night, Mara discovers the replacement sensor costs more than expected. She tries to delete dinner from the budget. I tell her dinner is not an arcade expense. She says feeding contractors is literally an arcade expense. We argue until June creates a new spreadsheet category called Mom is Stubborn. Basketball night. I find Mara asleep at the counter, sitting upright, pen in her hand. June is asleep in the office on a beanbag. I finish the display, clean my tools as quietly as possible, and put my jacket over Mara's shoulders. She wakes before I leave. What time is it? 11:40. You should have woken me. You looked busy, sleeping, very focused. She pulls the jacket around herself. You're cold. Van has heat. The van is 20 feet away. Excellent range then. She rolls her eyes, but she keeps the jacket until I carry June to Mara's car. That is a mistake, not carrying the kid. June is 8 and somehow becomes 90 pounds when asleep, but I survive. The mistake is the way Mara looks at me when I lower June into the back seat and fasten the belt without waking her. Like I have done something she did not know she wanted to see. She stands beside me with my jacket folded over her arms. You're good with her. She's easy. She interrogated the electrician about his divorce. He brought it up. He said he had 2 houses. She asked why. Reasonable diagnostic process. Mara smiles, but it fades. She likes you. There is a warning inside it, not stay away, more like understand the weight. I like her too, I say. Eli, I understand. Do you? I look through the window at June, mouth open, safety goggles still on top of her head. I don't make promises to kids for fun, I say. Mara's shoulders drop a little. Okay. She hands me my jacket. Our fingers catch in the sleeve. Neither of us moves for a second. Then June snores like a motorcycle and ruins whatever was about to happen. Ticket counter night is the first crisis. The ticket counter is obsolete. Manufacturer gone. The control board has damaged traces and one custom chip I cannot replace. If the chip is dead, the whole thing becomes a cabinet-shaped donation box. Not a safety problem, a business problem. Without it, the redemption counter stays dark, and weekend parties live on that thing. Mara leans against the counter. How long to know? A few hours. Do it. It may not work. Do it anyway. So I do. Midnight, microscope out, board under light. June went home with Mara's sister at 8. First night it is only us. Mara sits beside me painting new prize signs. She works with a tiny brush and never wastes a stroke. I repair copper traces thinner than hair. We go almost an hour without speaking. Not awkward, that's the problem. Comfortable silence is intimate if you are used to eating dinner over your sink. Around 1 she asks, "Why do you do this?" "Because your machine is broken." "No, this." Tiny wires at 1 in the morning. You could have said the board was dead and sold me a new system. New system doesn't fit your budget. That's not an answer either. I keep the soldering iron on the trace. My dad fixed televisions, I say. Had a shop until big screens got cheap enough that nobody repaired them. You worked there? Every summer, he'd give me a dead radio and say nothing is dead until you know why. That sounds useful. It made throwing things away emotionally complicated. Is he still around? Florida. He repairs fishing reels for men who own 3 boats and complain about $6 parts. So this is inherited. The stubborn part. I noticed. She says it gently. I finish the last bridge, reinstall the board, and power up. Display shows 0, then -12. Mara closes her eyes. Give it a second. Display flickers. 0. I feed 20 test tickets. It counts 20. Mara does not cheer. She turns, grabs my face with both hands, and kisses me. Fast, hard, completely real. Then she steps back so quickly she hits the counter. Both of us stare. That, she says, was extremely inappropriate. My brain is somewhere behind the prize shelves. Probably. You're a contractor. Technically subcontractor. That makes it worse. Could make it slightly better. I don't know the policy. She covers her face. I'm sorry. I'm not. Hands come down. Eli. I'm confused, not sorry. You cannot say things like that when I'm trying to be responsible. You kissed me. The ticket counter works. Very romantic machine. She starts laughing, quiet at first, then helpless. I laugh too because there is nothing else to do at 1:15 in the morning after being kissed beside 6,000 paper tickets. She stops before I do. June likes you, she says. I know. I like you. There it is. I was getting suspicious. And I'm not doing anything halfway around her. Okay. Okay means what? It means I like you. It means I'm not asking you to move fast. It means I'll show up when I say I will. She looks at the working display. That last one is doing a lot of work. It usually does. I do not kiss her again. That matters. I pack my tools. She watches me. At the door she says goodnight, then catches my sleeve and kisses my cheek. Slower. Deliberate. I drive home with -12 burned into my vision. The next night, my stool has a new sign. ELI, still do not steal. Under it, in smaller handwriting, even if he is late. I am 4 minutes late. June points at the clock. Traffic, I say. Mom checked the window 6 times. Mara says, homework. I finished. Invent more. After that, Mara and I become something without naming it. She waits for me by the door. I bring coffee exactly the way she likes it, which is mostly milk and denial. She texts photos of machine symptoms with captions like, "Your patient is being dramatic." I send back instructions and she follows none of them until I arrive. We kiss twice more. Once behind the prize counter after June leaves. Once in the parking lot because Mara says goodnight and neither of us moves. The second one lasts long enough that the motion light turns off and then back on. "Very subtle," she says against my mouth. "Building supports us. Building tried to kill 4 cabinets. People grow." Meanwhile, the deadline keeps moving toward us. 20 days left, and Starfall finally looks like a place that might open. Most machines work. Carpet is dry. Exit signs are new. Mara has pre-sold enough league spots to cover the first month. June has tested every repaired cabinet and created a rating system that includes button honesty. Then the first inspection finds one thing none of us saw. The fire alarm relay that is supposed to release the magnetic doors does nothing. Worse, the original drawings are gone. I can trace the circuit, but I cannot certify it. The city wants a licensed electrical engineer. Failed inspection, earliest recheck in 7 days. No certification, no opening. Mara holds the failed sheet and says nothing until the inspector leaves. Then she walks into the office and closes the door. June is at school, just us. I give her 5 minutes, then 10. At 15, I knock. "Go away." "No, I'm serious." "I know." I open the door. She is sitting on the floor between file boxes. Failure notice beside her. Not crying. Worse. Blank. "Engineer is 3,000 minimum," she says. That is if anyone takes a 1-week job. Relay parts, permit fee, re-inspection. I have $980 left in contingency. "I know an engineer." "Of course you do. He owes me." "No, you don't know the offer." "The offer is another man doing me a favor because you asked." "The offer is I call him." "And then what? You waive more labor, he waives a fee. Everybody feels noble, and I reopen a business held together by men who felt bad for the widow." There it is, the word she hates. "Nobody feels bad for you." "You should. This is pathetic." "Mara?" I had almost 6 weeks to prepare. I had insurance money, deposits, a budget. I did everything right, and I missed a relay in a wall. "You are not an electrical engineer. I'm the owner. Owners hire people. With money." I sit on the floor across from her. "Let me make the call." "No." "Why?" "Because you don't know how to stop." That hits harder than it should. "I'm doing my job." "Your job ended 3 repairs ago. You keep finding ways to be necessary. You requested me. For the machines, not for all of this." She gestures around the office, but she does not mean the office. "Then tell me what this is." Wrong question, wrong time. She looks away. "I can't. You kissed me. And I told you I wasn't doing anything halfway. I have shown up every night." "Exactly." Her voice breaks for the first time. "You show up and fix things, and June saves your chair, and I start planning dinner around when you arrive. Then what happens when nothing is broken?" I have no answer because that is also my fear, just turned around. She stands. "Go home, Eli. The relay is my problem." I leave angry, not at her. At the part of me that heard you keep finding ways to be necessary and immediately started building a defense. I sit in my van outside for 20 minutes. My stool is visible through a gap in the paper. Little white sign on the back. I drive away. Then I make it worse. Next morning, I call the engineer anyway. Name is Sanjay. He owes me from a grocery automation job involving a dead laptop and a floor scrubber power supply. Long story. He can come Saturday at a reduced rush rate if I do the tracing under him. I get the part held and talk my supervisor into 90 days on our labor bill. By noon, I have solved the entire problem without asking Mara. In my head, I am not rescuing her. I am presenting an option. This is how stupid men describe rescue when they want credit for respecting boundaries. I arrive Friday afternoon with a printed scope, the part number, and a price that fits her immediate cash only because my company's labor would not be due for 90 days. My stool is upside down on the counter, not gone, worse, put away. Mara is at the register. June is in the office. I place the papers down. I found a path. She reads the first page. Her face closes. "You called someone. He is licensed. Saturday availability. This is the cost. Your labor says net 90. That's how it fits. I said no. You said you didn't want charity. This isn't charity. Sanjay gets paid. Parts get paid. You can pay my company later. You don't get to turn no into an accounting problem. The deadline is less than 3 weeks away. Then I lose it. That is insane. It is mine to lose. We are both too loud now. June appears in the office doorway. Mara sees her and drops her voice immediately. Go finish your reading, baby. June looks at me, then the upside-down stool. She goes back inside. Mara folds the scope once. You need to leave. Fine. I pack nothing because I brought nothing. At the door, she says my name. I turn, hoping. Cancel your friend. That is all. Saturday I do not go. Longest Saturday of my adult life. I clean my apartment. I reorganize parts bins nobody sees. I call my father and ask a question about a radio I repaired 15 years ago. He answers, then asks what is actually wrong. I tell him about the arcade, not the kissing. Fathers have limits. He listens and says, Did she ask you to solve it? She needed it solved. That wasn't my question. I hate when wisdom arrives with a Florida accent. No. Then you weren't fixing the relay. What was I fixing? Your feeling. Great call. Very supportive. Sunday morning, a text from June's tablet. It says, Mom says I am not supposed to get involved. Then, this is me not getting involved. Photo attached. My stool on the counter, sign still taped to it, bent along the middle. Then, she did not throw it away. I stare at that for a full minute. I type, Your mom is right. Don't get involved. I made a mistake and I need to fix it with her. June replies, You fix everything. I write, Not this way. Then I do the hardest technical task of my career. Nothing, I cancel Sanjay, release the part, tell my dispatcher I am off the account unless the customer requests me. I do not drive past the arcade. Monday night Mara calls. Did you tell the league parents? She asks. Tell them what? About the inspection. No. Somebody started a volunteer list. Not me. Silence. Okay, she says. Mara. What? I'm sorry. Another silence. I know. She hangs up. Tuesday, I get an email, not from Mara, from Starfall Arcade's business address. Subject, request for paid consultation. Message is 4 sentences. I am requesting 2 hours of your time to review 3 possible compliance plans. Your role is to identify technical risks and answer questions. You are not authorized to contact vendors, waive labor, recruit help, or become a martyr. Standard rate approved. At the bottom, if you can follow scope, Thursday at 6. I reply, scope accepted. Thursday, my stool is on the floor again. No sign, June is not there. Mara arranged for her sister to take her because this is an adult conversation. 3 plans are on the counter. Payment plan with the engineer, advance from the landlord, or a founding member community night in the parking lot to cover the shortfall. Mara made all 3. The third one is good, better than good. Vendors, food trucks, a donated projector, founding memberships, 8 league parents already volunteering. She did not need me to invent the rescue. She needed me to tell her whether her own plan would work. This is the plan, I say. Technical risks. Weather and crowd control, manageable. Technically, this works. I can raise 3,000. Your pre-sale numbers are conservative. You're not just saying that? You are paying me not to. She looks at the papers. The league parents started the volunteer list, she says. One of them saw me crying behind the dumpster. Strong leadership moment. I threatened her. Community building. Small smile. Then it disappears. I was wrong about one thing, she says. I wait. You weren't trying to make me helpless. I still ignored you. You did. I'm sorry. I'm still angry. You should be. She looks up. Stop agreeing so well. It makes it difficult. I can defend myself badly if that helps. Later. We spend 2 hours reviewing the plan. Exactly 2. At 8, I close my notebook. Scope complete. Eli. Yeah? She touches the stool sign lying flat behind the register. When nothing is broken, why would you come here? There is the question. This time I answer it. Because you're here. She presses her lips together. That is too simple. No, fixing things is simple. You are complicated. Excellent recovery. I like the way you paint stars where nobody looks. I like that you know which game a family plays together. I like that you notice allergies and pretend it's inventory control. I like June, but I'm not here because she saved a stool. She saved it because I was already here. Mara's eyes fill. She gets annoyed at them. You can stop. I can. Do you want me to? She shakes her head. I'm here when things work, I say. If you want me. She comes around the counter. I don't need another repairman tonight. Good, I completed scope. I need you to be quiet. Also available. She kisses me. Not celebration, not panic. Slow, both hands on my shirt, my hands waiting until she pulls me closer. When we stop, she puts her forehead against mine. I want you, she says, and I am going to hate needing you sometimes. I hate being wanted when I'm not useful. That is incredibly inconvenient. We can develop procedures. She laughs into my shoulder. Saturday's community night raises $4,800. Mara runs it like a general. Food trucks along the west curb. Projector on the blank wall. June at a folding table selling founding member cards she designed with Mara. I am assigned temporary power and specifically forbidden from improving anything not on the diagram. At 7, Mara gets on a small stage made from shipping pallets. She thanks the neighborhood, thanks the league families, thanks the school, vendors, landlord, even the inspector, which is morally excessive. Then she says, and Eli Mercer, who repaired every machine I could afford, argued with every machine I couldn't, and eventually learned that help is not a synonym for ignore the owner. Whole crowd laughs. I look at her. She is smiling directly at me. He also reminded me this place was never one person's dream, she says. It belongs to everybody who keeps coming back. June cups her hands around her mouth and yells, "That means you." Mara closes her eyes. I have never loved two people more. Sanjay comes Monday at full rate. Mara signs his proposal. I assist on the clock. By the end of the day, the relay works, the drawings exist, and the alarm test releases the doors every time. Friday morning, re-inspection passes. The inspector signs the certificate at 10:42. Mara takes a photo before the ink dries. Then she turns to me. I brace for another spontaneous kiss. She hands me an invoice approval. Romance is alive, I say. Documentation first. Then she kisses me in front of the inspector anyway. Starfall reopens Saturday. Line around the corner. Kids pressed against the windows. Neon sign fixed, all 5 points lit. Inside, machines running, tickets rattling, Mara moving through it all with a radio clipped to her belt. June is behind the snack counter. 8 stools on the floor now. Everyone occupied except mine. Paper sign is back. She laminated it. ELI, do not steal. Underneath, new line. Even when nothing is broken. I sit for maybe 30 seconds before Mara finds me. Why are you sitting? Sign says. Sign has no authority. June says. I'm assistant manager. You're 8. Young assistant manager. Mara looks at the packed arcade. At me, at June. For 1 second the noise drops away from her face. She takes my hand. Come on, she says. Star Night is free. Star Night only has 2 seats, which creates a crisis until June announces she is pilot and we are support staff. Mara and I squeeze into one seat badly. She sits half on my leg, one hand on the controls, and accuses me of steering wrong while she is not steering at all. We lose in 70 seconds. June says our relationship lacks shield management. Fair. The story does not end at reopening, because reopening is the part everybody sees. The harder part is Tuesday when nothing is broken. I finish work at 5, no service call, no invoice. I stand in my apartment holding my keys and discover Mara was right about me. I do not know how to arrive without a tool case, so I bring nothing. Walk into Starfall at 6:12 with empty hands. Mara is behind the counter reconciling tickets. She looks at my hands first. What happened? Nothing. No emergency? No. No parts? No. Then why are you here? She knows. She makes me say it. Because you're here. Her whole face softens. She comes around the counter and hugs me in the middle of business hours. Not hiding, not thanking, just holds on. June watches from a skee-ball lane and says, Finally. We start dating like normal people. If normal people have an 8-year-old who scores dates on a clipboard, First official date is dinner. June stays with Mara's sister. Mara spends the first 20 minutes checking the security cameras on her phone. I reach over and turn it face down. She says this is controlling. I say she has watched a teenager attempt to tilt the claw machine 6 times and has chosen not to intervene, so it is voyeurism now. Second date is a hardware store because the prize shelves need brackets. Mara says it does not count. We kiss in aisle 14, which improves its classification. Third date is my apartment. I cook. She discovers I own 1 chair and a television from 2009. You repair electronics for a living. Exactly. I know what new ones look like inside. This television has a border wider than June. Reliable border. She starts leaving things, hair tie by the sink, sweater on the chair, mug she claims is not hers, despite having a letter M on it. I start leaving things at Starfall, phone charger at the counter, clean shirt in the office, a toothbrush upstairs in Mara's apartment after the night we stop pretending I am driving home. We take it slowly around June, which means June notices everything immediately and agrees not to mention it if I repair her handheld game. That's bribery, Mara says. It has stick drift, June says. That's unrelated. Everything is connected. Winter leagues start. Starfall does better than Mara's conservative plan. She hires a weekend manager, takes Sunday mornings off for the first time in years. We spend those mornings badly. Pancakes, grocery store, June's soccer games where nobody understands offside. Sometimes nothing. Nothing becomes my favorite activity. In February, the landlord offers Mara a 5-year lease. She brings it to my apartment and puts it on the table. I want you to read something. Lease isn't electronics. This part is. She points to an addendum about electrical service and maintenance, then slides a second document out from under the lease. Amended operating agreement. Starfall Arcade, LLC. Mara Velez, managing member. Eli Mercer, proposed minority member. I read it twice. You put me on the company. Proposed, minority share. Paid, not gifted. You'd buy in over 2 years out of distributions. Mara, you rebuilt the technical side. Your company still handles the service contract because I refuse to let you work here for free. You have ideas about league tracking that I pretend not to like. You hate my dashboard. The colors are criminal. The numbers are useful. She sits across from me. This is not because we're dating, she says. If we break up, I still want you as a partner. There are provisions. I had a lawyer make them painful and adult. Romantic. Documentation first. I look at the 2 names again. What if nothing breaks? Then you do what owners do. Complain about margins? Exactly. I sign the letter of intent that week after my own lawyer reviews it. Mara looks offended that I got separate counsel and proud at the same time. June updates the stool sign. ELI, part owner, still do not steal. The stool lasts another 6 months. Then Mara removes it. I arrive on a Thursday and my seat is gone. Not upside down. Gone. What did I do? June points upstairs. Mara is in the apartment over the arcade, standing beside a stack of flattened moving boxes. My father is in the kitchen eating crackers. I stop. You flew up from Florida? Your girlfriend bought the ticket, Dad says. Said I might be needed tomorrow. I look at Mara. This feels coordinated. Nothing irreversible, she says. Dad points a cracker at me. Good, because that television of yours weighs 60 pounds. Raised you wrong. Mara holds out a key, not her spare. New key on a little metal token from Star Night. You have a stool downstairs, a toothbrush upstairs, your name on the company, and 7 shirts in my office, she says. This is becoming administratively stupid. So the boxes are a threat, a proposal. I'm asking you to live here. June is on the stairs, pretending not to listen, with the subtlety of a smoke alarm. Mara steps closer. Not because I need repairs, not because June loves you, not because rent is cheaper. Strong opening? Be quiet. I practiced. I shut up. I want the ordinary part, she says. I want you here on Tuesdays. I want you in the kitchen when the machines work. I want your terrible television and your bins of wires I am going to regret. I love you. Move in. I take the key. I love you too. Is that a yes? Yes. Dad calls from the kitchen. Great. Tomorrow we move the television. I look at Mara. Depends. Where is my stool? June runs the rest of the way up. We made it into something. Downstairs beside the snack counter, There is a section of wall I had assumed Mara was repainting. Dark blue, fresh stars. Mounted in the middle is the curved wooden back from my stool, signs still laminated across it. Underneath are 3 brass nameplates: Mara Velez, owner; Eli Mercer, owner; June Velez, assistant manager, apparently. Beside them is a photograph from reopening day. Mara half sitting on me in Star Night, June at the controls, all 3 of us laughing before the game kills us. The stool was falling apart, Mara says. It was structurally honest. It was a splinter with legs. June points to the empty place at the bottom of the wall. That's for later. Later what? She shrugs. More family stuff. Mara turns red. I decide not to diagnose it. That move was last summer. I first walked into Starfall 2 years ago. Starfall is open behind me while I tell this. Saturday afternoon, every cabinet occupied. The ticket counter still works and has never again charged a child -12, which is my proudest technical achievement. Mara is painting a new constellation over the expanded party room. June is 10 now and has promoted herself to operations director. She still does homework at the snack counter, except now she charges me for soda because owners support revenue. Nothing is broken today. I checked. I am sitting in a new stool under the old sign. Mara walks over, paint on her cheek, pencil in her hair, exactly like the first day. Why are you staring at me? She asks. Evaluating paint quality. Evaluate quietly. She kisses me anyway. June makes a disgusted noise without looking up from her homework. Then Star Night's attract music starts across the room, loud and triumphant, and Mara reaches for my hand. Come on, she says. We have 1 credit. 3 people. You and I can share. We have terrible shield management. People grow. So I leave the tool case under the counter, take her hand, and go play.